here with Echo Fox juggler Akaadian following the conclusion of the 2017 NA LCS Summer Split. You now just finished your whole first year of competitive play. What have you taken away from this? Like, what's like the main takeaway, whether it be you as a player or growing as a person?
I think it's just been mostly mental-wise. My mentality, I think, changed a lot from playing LCS for the first time and just being a rookie, I guess. I think when I came to LCS, I don't know, maybe it's like lower. I had lower expectations of like our team and myself, and like I had lower goals or something like that. But when I first started playing, I thought I could beat everybody and we could beat everybody, right? So I think I was just really excited to play LCS every time. Like, I was super, super excited to go out there and play on the stage. I don't know, I think that just kind of changed towards the summer split. It just becomes more like mellow, I guess, as you play on and on. I think that's been something that I've heard many people say. It's just you're playing the season out. And veterans who've played like 4 or 5 seasons probably feel the same way. They're just playing the season out. And then playoffs is where it's supposed to get really hyped. So, yeah.
Do you think that it is a big time like night and day comparison when it comes to the overall pro player attitude for regular season compared to the playoff picture? Is it just a complete and total beast?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different. Everyone's just they care more about playoffs. Like, obviously the game that's happening right now, CLG TSM, there's a lot of there's some hype behind it, I guess. There's some sort of rivalry there that they've played. They're both top of the standings now, so that makes it more exciting. But I would say the majority of regular season games are kind of just that, past like the first 2 or 3 weeks, because everyone I think is really interested when LCS starts again, right? Because you haven't seen it in a long time. The first 2 or 3 weeks you get to watch everybody play. It's like, oh, nice, it's really fun to watch, I guess. But I think it just kind of drones on after a while, or it just becomes more boring to watch. There's just a lot of games, so yeah.
Do you think that this type of format with the regular season, the regular split rather, with the games, regular season games every weekend, do you think that is like the most optimal format for competitive League of Legends, or do you think that there's like a better format out there for this scene?
No, I mean, personally, I was way more of a fan of watching it when it was just best of 1, and there wasn't very many games to watch. Like, you could watch a whole LCS day in 5 hours, right? But right now you watch almost the whole LCS day and only half the games that were played in 5 hours. Like, you'll only be able to watch one stream, right? And there's 2 streams going on. There's 12 games a day, right?
Yeah, 12? Up to 12 games a day, yeah.
Yeah, there's 12 games a day, so I mean, I was a fan of League, and I can't watch that much. Like, I couldn't watch that much when I was a fan, so I think it's pretty bad for like fan-oriented, and maybe for player-oriented, it's cool to have best of 3s, but I think there's just too many games, to be honest. I find myself uninterested in most of the games that are played in LCS, because it's just like, oh, it's just some LCS set, It's not a huge deal, as opposed to like some of the games, like the one that's happening right now, a lot of people care about, like the CLG TSM one. It's, of course, pretty exciting, but the majority of games, I would say, are not very exciting, so yeah.
So we have the best of 1 format from before, but people were crying out for the best of 3 format because best of 1's not viewed as the best competitive format in terms of the actual level of the teams. Is there a happy medium between the two? Like, is League of Legends either a better spectator esport or a better like competitive esport? Is there any middle ground where those two can meet in a certain format?
I think League of Legends is a great spectator sport. It's probably the best spectator esport. I think it's better than Counter-Strike even, but yeah, I think the fact that there's so many games going on just makes it less interesting. Because it was really interesting when there was just like 1 or 2 hype matches to watch, and then you would still watch like the worst teams because there's only 1 game a day, and you're still like into it and excited, I mean, I just remember posting up like on Sunday, I'd get like a pizza or something, and I would just watch LCS for like 5 hours, and I was interested in all of it, right? Like, it was all pretty fun to watch, unless the game was like already decided at 15 minutes. Sometimes I'd just be like, okay, well, I'll do something else. But for the most part, I just remember being really excited about it, and maybe it's because I'm playing an LCS. I don't know if other people feel the same way, but I'm just not super excited about it now.
Do you think that's also the case for players? Do you think this format can potentially contribute to like player burnout, or just kind of a loss of focus into the split with just the sheer amount of games that you guys are having to play?
Player burnout, I think, would come more from practicing, and the practicing amount is not going to change even if you give less games. I don't think the player burnout comes from like the amount of games that anyone plays. I think that the main argument for it before that I was seeing a lot was people wanted a best of 3 format because a lot of people think that North America and Europe weren't getting the best chance for Worlds to beat Korean teams in best of scenarios, right? And then we changed it to best of 3, and everyone still got slapped by the Koreans. So it's like, I don't know. I think there's definitely a better format to put it in, and I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens next year.
So you don't think that the actual format change for the Western regions has made much of a difference, really, in the grand scheme of the gap closing or whatever people want to call it, in terms of getting to play better versus these Korean teams?
I think there's been no real gap closing that's happened, and if anything, it's lowered viewership. So I think it's probably just not good straight up. Like, it's nice to want to beat the Korean teams and stuff, but I think the best way to do that is to just be able to go play them, like practice against them, you know? I don't think it's going to change if you're just stomping your own region, like in best of 3s. We saw that with TSM. Everyone thought TSM was insanely strong, right? And then they go to Korea and, or not Korea, but they go to Worlds and they did well. Like, I'll give them that. They did play pretty well in general. Like, I was happy. I was proud of their performance, you know, as an NA resident, but
people expected more.
People expected more because we had everything going for us, right? It was like the strongest NA roster that anyone had ever seen, really. Like, well, was it anyone had ever seen? It's one of the strongest NA rosters. It was
like in the conversation for strongest ever, definitely. Yeah. At least in terms of like post LCS era.
Yeah, I mean, there was that. They got to play best of 3s the whole split. They trained for a long time. I think they went to Korea. I'm not really sure. They trained before, and I mean, they did put up like a pretty good performance, I would say. But I honestly don't expect Western teams to beat Korean teams. I just think they're just too good. I don't know. I think they're really, really good. So it never seems likely that a Western team will ever beat the top Korean teams.
So then what does it take for even to be a scenario that if it's not going to be the format change? Are you saying that even with the improvements to infrastructure, you don't think is that going to eventually make a difference as North America's esports infrastructure develops around the League of Legends scene?
I can't really say. Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of factors. I don't think anybody can point to like one thing and say this is why Korean teams are better, right? But I would definitely say that their solo queue at least is way more competitive, so they get more consistent practice from that. I mean, that's one thing, but there's also tons of things that have been brought up, like they have better coaching, they have better, like the players have better work ethic, there's a better culture there. I don't know. I don't really know what it could be. There's a lot of things probably, but yeah.
Well, as a pro player in North America, what do you think that North American teams can look towards in terms of their own personal growth regarding the franchising model? How do you think that's going to help North American teams who are partnering? Like, for example, for Echo Fox, do you guys think that's going to be like a boon for you guys, and whether it be like upgrading the organization or the infrastructure or the staff? Do you think that there's things to gain both in terms of the domestic picture for teams, but also internationally?
In terms of them actually becoming stronger teams?
Yeah, in any way, shape, or form, do you think the franchising model is going to help teams do that?
Not really, to be honest. I mean, it's still going to be, there's still the rule that you have to have 3 North American players. There's still all the things that are there before. It's just going to be called something different. So maybe there will be more infrastructure in other teams, but like for Echo Fox, I would say we have pretty good infrastructure in general compared to most teams, I'd say. But I mean, I don't know if anything's really going to change like our results or anything like that.
So if you are of the opinion that it could happen eventually, but like you can't see a Western team beating a Korean team, as a Western player yourself, as one of the better junglers in this Western region, what are your goals then as a player? Just to play the best that you can and go as far as you can? Does that affect like how you end up seeing yourself in the bigger picture at all?
My personal goal right now is to just be on a top team in my region. So, I mean, whether that's with Echo Fox or with any other team, I want to be on a team. Honestly, I think if I don't think that the team that I join or am playing on will be a top team, I probably just won't play anymore, because I think there's no point just going through like a year or something like that, just thinking, oh, I'm just here for the money or something like that. That's not really the way I work. I'm too competitive for that, and I get really frustrated, I think. So I guess that's my personal goal, is just to be on a top team. And by top team, I mean like top 4 or 5. That's what I prefer. So, yeah.
All right, well, Akaadian, thank you so much for the interview. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on finishing your first year. We look forward to seeing you a lot more in the future. For everything else NA LCS, feel free to hit that subscribe button below. And for everything else League of Legends Esports, you can head to caliber.gg.